Cool. Yeah, we're recording. So yeah, does anyone have any wins they want to share before we get into anything deeper? I can start because I've actually got a win. I did a festival yesterday, like a market stall with Healy.
I thought you were going to do that.
Yeah, and so we've had the most amazing weather, up to 30-something degrees over the last week, and it rained the whole time the festival was on. And
Oh my God.
what that meant is that people ran literally from tent to tent. So people kind of like were standing at the stall going, okay, I'm out the rain. So what have you guys got? So that kind of worked out in some ways well. The numbers obviously weren't as big, but it's definitely a good way to meet completely random people that are interested in wellness. And also with the other stall holders, a good way to meet entrepreneurs because they're doing something different to, to create a business. And they're interested in wellness. And some of the best leads that I got were from the other stall holders yesterday. So yeah, definitely worth looking into if they're around. I know that there's another one coming up in Joondalup. And apparently 3 or 4 Healy members had signed up and didn't even wait for approval and sent the money to say, yep, I want the spot, I want the spot. And yeah, so one thing I can say to that is that do it the right way and do it with good communication. It's like all communication with Healy. Like if we just really fire it out too fast, then people are like, whoa, what's going on? Actually, no, that kind of feels like a no. And that's actually what's happened at the festival is the organizer got so bombarded that they're just like, actually, I don't think I want to have any of you guys at the stall right now. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But the market stalls and things like that definitely can work. So.
How did you find, so you went ahead with it, and how did you find interacting with people? And did you have information there available, or was it just all speaking? Or?
So what I did is I've organised an event for Thursday night. So my main focus was just to get contacts and invite them to either send a brochure or get them to the event. So that was the number one thing that I did. And most people that stayed around long enough were interested to do that. And I had a really good segue, which I can show you. Actually, right here is, if you can see, this is a cymatics plate. So this is made from sand on a steel plate that vibrates and it makes a pattern. And so I had a couple of those there. And then I just said to people,
I found that image. I'm actually working on a creative project to do with frequencies inspired by Healy. And that's one of my images I found.
Yeah, right. Well, that's actually a plate that I made. A friend has a machine that can do it. So I had a few of those plates out and I just went, are you interested in frequency? And then just showed them the plates because it was really kind of a tactile thing. And then from there went into we're all frequency. And have you heard about, frequency devices that support a bioenergetic being? And then people opened pretty easily from there. So it was a good way to segue in as opposed to, so I've got this thing I want to sell you.
That was genius.
Amazing. That's so cool.
It's such a beautiful thing because it shows tangibly, look, run frequency through and you can physically, tangibly see the effect frequency has on reality through this plate right here. So
exactly.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and I had 3 different plates and it's like different plates or same plate, different frequency, different pattern. Same thing with the body and the Healy, different frequencies, different patterns for different parts of the body. So yeah, it was a really good segue.
Brilliant.
Nice so yeah, that was a really good win. And looking forward to Thursday's event. We've got some good numbers actually coming along.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
So,
I guess I
yeah.
could say a win that I have is like I have been really inspired by already that knowledge about frequency, the seed planted in my consciousness, and then the Healy came into my life, and I'm starting a creative project, like a brand that I'm starting, but I won't reveal too much. But I feel like in a lot of the content, it's going to sometimes lead back to the potential of Healy as well, but it's another way to get the possibility of the frequency of love, and frequencies, like just the awareness about frequencies out. And so I started getting working with someone on the logo for that, and that's what I've been mostly delving in on, as well as just using my Healy at home. But it's all related, so I'll keep you posted when it evolves.
Awesome.
Nice one, Steph.
No, it's epic. And I'll celebrate my win, which happened literally just as we came on this call, is I signed up for the Healy watch and the digital nutrition package last week, I think, and have been watching and waiting, checking each day. It hasn't been turning up. And I thought, okay. And then today I finally put in a support ticket. So I thought, okay, well, let's see. Because I thought I'd go through the experience and start testing, where we can go next. And I put the support ticket in this morning. And just now I noticed there was another update on my thing. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. And when I looked, it's got all of the new programs are available on it now. So they've gone and activated it today since I put that ticket through. I haven't had a look at the back office yet to see if they've actually replied, but it seems pretty obvious that they must have seen the ticket, activated it. So they are looking for activation tickets, it seems, which was good response. Sucks that it didn't happen straight away itself, but awesome that they responded so quickly. And I'm running, I don't even know what it is because I just randomly picked DN stress support. No idea what that's for, but I'm enjoying it. So I'm stoked.
Nice.
Probably one of the first ones to start exploring the watch amongst, I don't know anyone else who started exploring the watch yet properly.
Yeah. There's a few out there that have jumped on it really quickly, but I just felt with everything going on, the Healy is it's not complex really, but getting our heads around it and changing the way of thinking is a bit of a journey. And that's where we've just been focusing on the Healy itself because it's incredible as it is. And so now I only feel after 9 months and then, that it was time to go that next step. So I'll let everyone know how it goes next week.
Pregnancy of Healy, 9 months.
Yeah. Since that first romantic night together.
the baby watch is born.
Yes. Hey, Nicola. Welcome to the
guys,
Madhouse.
how are you? Good to see you guys after a while.
It feels like a long time, huh?
Yeah, it has been a wild ride, the whole aspect of Scorpio in the month that we are at the moment. Just super heavy. The storm, I was the other day in a birthday party and Sunday being storm and dark and hail here in Queensland and New South Wales. And the next day, just blue sky, just fairyland, just the polarity of it and how, it's transitioning and there's death and birth. And I feel it's correlated to Healy. Healy is truly everything is shifting. I know there's been changes of CEO and multiple high-end people in the business. So that's really making people progress. That's what you were saying about the support tickets. And it's been a bit challenging with some people, the heavy of their, obviously, understanding of how long they've been waiting for the Healy. But some people really go dwell into I've been waiting and this is a scam or this is heavy energy. So understanding where they're coming from, but I think you refer to that video, Mark, Jason, which really helped of the update of what's going on worldwide and all of that. So it's, when just share that to people, it's okay, it's out of my power, you know what I mean? I'm not, we have no power over that. But it's been really interesting, the journey with Healy recently. I been doing healing retreats. So just healing people that come to detox, doing based on what they come from, doing symptoms and me writing down the programs that they need to do. And because they're in water fasting, right? The body is super sensitive to the heat, to the frequency. So it's seeing the result of that has been truly amazing. And I wanted to just share and like perspective on it, because I did the resonance scanning someone, and the highest category priority came as the deep cycle, right? And I had a look, and it asked for the highest resonance was first application, and then let's say calm, and then second application, like in that order, right? So how would you guys read that? Like if the heal is saying that the highest priority is to use, let's say, third application, for example, it doesn't make any sense, because you have to do first, second, and third application consecutively. Will you just go straight to third because that's what the body needs, or would you still follow the what's the name?
The protocol.
Or the procedure that's going on?
Yeah. Personally, my recommendation would be with the deep cycle. That's the one where there is a real recommended sequence to follow. And it's almost like each one kind of opens a gateway to the next, with the opening first, second, and third. And this is how I would read it, is that the body is looking for something that's in the third, but to really get to that, I would still go through the 1 and the 2 to get to the third. That's how I would interpret it. But I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, Mark. Maybe before we get into too many Q&As and things like that further, maybe if you want to speak to this, Mark, and then go straight into the galactic update.
Oh yeah, of course.
How's that? How's that sound? We were just doing some wins before we got started, Nikolai.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's, Nicola, I think it's one of those things where I'd question whether that deep cycle should have even been included in the scanning selection. Because basically what the Healy is saying is, look, there's a bunch of frequencies in here, like Jason's saying, that are resonant with what your body could need. But it also has a lot more as well involved in there. And the deep cycle was created with a solid intention. It is like a deep cycle purification process over time. And just a reminder as well, for a lot of new people who might be watching this recording, those deep cycles are a gift. They actually aren't really being sold as such. The creator of the deep cycles is from Moss over in Norway. And he's a frequency specialist. They gifted them to Healy because he wanted them to be accessible worldwide, because he knew the benefit of what this could do for the world. So that's what's pretty special about those deep cycles. You'll notice that they don't come straight away. They come about 2 weeks after. The idea is, as Stephanie mentioned in the chat, you should be running some of those gold programs for the first weeks to get your body adjusted to the frequencies first before you go into hardcore deep cycle. And then I agree with you, Jace. Nicola, if it's coming up, like it's actually been coming up for me. And so it's funny you asked this, because I've actually been contemplating this very question. Like, well, I know some people have just used them. Like I know, Shay, that Josh used some and had some great results with the Breath of Life because he had some lung stuff. So it's not saying you can't, but the recommended is to go through the whole process as setting a foundation in that sense. So my recommendation would be, if it's coming up, then maybe make a commitment to running those. And remember, it's not about how fast can you get to the end. That's kind of something I think we need to back off a little bit on with Healy, is there's a lot of rushing to get things fixed as such, which in itself kind of contains the wrong seed of intention necessarily, than actually kind of relaxing into it and trusting in the flow. And from there, one thing I've seen from different protocols is, maybe you do the first application on Monday, and then maybe application 2 on Friday. I'm not a specialist in that field, but, or even 1 a week even. If you did that as, okay, 1 a week, I'm going to do the deep cycles. Every Monday, I'll do another one and another one and another one. Then it can continue going as a kind of long-term commitment to your body while you're still using all the other frequencies, right? You can still, if you want to use something different as well. So it's that part of, and also this kind of ties into the weather report actually, in the sense of, everyone is projecting out a lot of stuff right now. And everyone is going through so much trauma release, so much hurt, so much wounding. It's being triggered left, right, and center to come up and be purged. Especially coming into Scorpio, that fiery, passionate energy around right now. She's wild, right? And when we look at so going straight into the galactic weather report, You know, we are, as we mentioned last week, we're in the red moon wave spell. So it's a 13-day process dedicated to our ability to be sensitive. You know, it's this wave spell is all about helping purify that which is blocking our sensitivity, in a sense. Because once we, you know, it's like if you eat a lot of crap junk food and you eat a lot of things, your sensitivity to energy starts dropping. Your sensitivity to all kinds of things starts numbing, you know, because the body's in kind of like having to deal with all this other interference and noise and off frequencies and the rest. So when we're out of tune like that, we lose our sensitivity and we become more blunt and more kind of, you know, crazy. And so this red moon often can kind of loosen up stuff inside of us to come to the surface and purge so that we can be more sensitive. Now, in that process, what often happens is we find ourselves extra sensitive to everyone around us, you know, and we have to recalibrate according to this sensitivity, because the new sensitivity means we have to also put in healthy boundaries about how we respond to what we're sensitive to, you know. And so today is the white planetary mirror. So the archetype of today is actually about how do we manifest, you know, the product of this sensitivity? How do we ground it into our reality? And the white mirror is, you know, it's very reflective of what, you know, Ram Dass would say, you know, that you have to polish your own mirror. It's not about cleaning what the outside world looks like, but rather it's about cleaning your own inner mirror as to what you're perceiving through your reflection of what you're sensitive to and what you see out there. And so sometimes we get hypersensitive, we get overreactive, defense mechanisms kick in, we try to protect ourselves, we feel bad, we feel guilty, we feel judged. There's all kinds of things that can stir up. And so the white mirror is asking for us to sit there and go, how much of this is real? What of this is yours to actually be even owning and holding and bearing? And what can you just allow them to you know, to be in the outside world? And that's a painful experience. It's a challenging wave that we're going through. We've got all kinds of grittiness. The 44th gene key is live right now. It's all about interference and teamwork and how do we work together. And the only way you can work together as a team is if you are solid as an individual, which is quite a paradox, right? And so something that I've been reflecting on, just to bring it back to kind of what you spoke into a bit, Nikolai, when you brought into this, is I've been very conscious and contemplating, you know, the challenge of being in these leadership roles with our teams who have, you know, gone in and everyone's ordered, have spent lots of money, things have happened and the world is what it is and it's all crazy and everyone's firing up. Not everyone, but there's little things firing up. And I would watch myself feel overwhelmed. I'd suddenly feel really guilty, like it was my fault, you know, and I'd watch these inner kind of processes that would happen where I was watching where my old pattern of taking responsibility for the happiness of my outside world and the rest was actually being very constricting. And I became too sensitive to touch that I would want to hide away. And so I've just come back out of that contemplation and really seeing that we have to, you know, be able to be sensitive, but also to not take on responsibility for other people in that sense. And we can only do so much, you know, and we have tried to, you know, we share with people, we let them know the situation, but no matter how much we let people know, no matter what we do, there is always going to be moments where people trigger in their own stuff as it comes up, and for fair reasons as well. And that just kind of, that's got to be okay. And kind of, you know, just hold love and compassion for them as they go through that space and not lean over trying to carry them and the rest, but stay there and support them and say, hey, I appreciate it. I totally get you frustrated. And just every time for me, it's about cleaning the mirror. It's like, yeah, okay, we can get caught in all the, because it's almost like this promotion that's happened in August and in September. It's like it's just kicked mud up on the mirror, right? It's just suddenly created this turbulence that spat mud all over the place. And now all of us are cleaning the mirrors, we're refining and we're having to look, okay, was I cleaning what I said? Like, for example, one of my confessions is I realized that I was saying 3 to 6 weeks when Peter Saz was saying up to 8 weeks. I realized I brought it back to 6. I thought, oh no, 6, that'd be enough that was bad. I screwed up. I should have listened to his lead and what he was, because he was right. And it was 8 weeks. And now we are at about 8. They are starting to land and they're a bit later than 8. But, so I just had to reflect on what really could I have done better and what couldn't I have, and then forgiven myself. And then from there, it's like, that's that polishing in the mirror. Okay, now clear that mud off. Don't do that again. Don't try to be overly optimistic. Don't try to say that, and just constantly look at the people pleaser in me. So that's kind of how I've been working through these energies and using this kind of challenging time as a great opportunity to get stronger in my own core stability. And that's something that I think is going to be really beautiful for all of us, having gone through, like Nikolai, with you right now and with others, when we have to deal with these kinds of situations in, just a few months' time, like in 2021, as things start solidifying, for those that were here during the rough times, it's going to feel so easy compared to where we've come from. And that's something that I'm super excited about, and something that I just keep bringing back to the vision. Just keep cleaning that mirror and reminding people that come on board. The other option was that you didn't get the Healy and no one got a Healy, and we waited 2 years while all this madness with the politics and everything went down, and none of us had this as an option. And so it's just really reconnecting to the bigger vision, and kind of is the key for me. There you go.
I feel like one of my wins, actually contemplating that, is that I didn't sign on a whole heap of people in the global sale, but I sold 4 resonances to 4 really amazing people, and they have all been so amazingly patient. And I feel like I've just attracted just the right kind of people, planting the right seeds, and I feel really grateful for that. I just feel like they're just, they're not getting angry. I'm sending little messages here and there, so chill about it. It's probably just going to surprise them, fall in their laps one day soon. But yeah, I've also looked at that whole, sort of sticking through, and I'm not always able to actively be sharing or, being seeing people and talking about it maybe as much as I used to be, or it's just, waves. But just like, I'm still so glad that I came into this game when we did. Like, I'm still so glad for the people who have just bought in the promotion, because at the end of the day, they're going to have this device in their house, and just trusting in the process, but just no regrets for being here still. I can see it all just, it's going to pan out into this beautiful horizon soon, much more than it has been. Yeah,
I'm like you, Steph. The people that signed up during the promotion on my team are just amazing. Like, every single one of them is like the people that I want to be here, and they have also, like, I've actually been giving them like updates to when it's going to come and stuff, and they're like, oh good, like it's going to come, we really need it, but it's going to come when it comes. And just totally like, awesome. Like, I'm like, oh, this is how you want to run, you want a team to be like. This is Herkimer Diamond. I lost this weeks ago, and Ben, my partner, just came in and found it while I just gave it to him. I was like, whoa, I've been looking everywhere. I even went out to the beach that I lost it at and tried looking everywhere for it, thinking it was in the sand.
Oh, that's so magical. That's amazing.
Yeah. So there's my win. It's not really to do with Healy, but it's, that's cool.
You're on the Healy call. It's all.
Nice. I've just shared a talk between Christian Halper and Marcus. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Came up. I saw it in the US chat, and I hadn't seen it anywhere else. And it's the two of them, and it looks like there's a video, but it's just a photo of them with the audio that goes for about half an hour. And they talk about, 2 years ago when they were sitting together and kind of made the decision to choose network marketing as the business model, and what was the intention, and where are they now, and the parallels kind of between left brain, right brain, spirituality and science, and all of these things. And it kind of touches on a few of these pieces that I think help to create stability in the product and also where we're at. So have a listen to that. It's really good. And I've spoken about it before, but that phase between pioneer and settlement is some of the most difficult, because you've really got that thing of like, we're exploring, we don't know where we're going, we don't know what we're going to find, to, okay, we've found this now, how do we solidify it? And it's such a different mentality, and it's such a different requirement of structure and personality that are needed. And being in that crossover phase is definitely the most difficult. And, you know, we really are, you know, I use the analogy of being a DJ and crossfading between tracks, right? And we're right in that crossfade right now, where that new settlement phase is getting more and more solid. Like in the US, they're pretty much sorted now. They've got over 1,000 of everything in stock. So they've got a bunch of watches, they've got a bunch of Heelys, they've got 11,000 cords and straps, and the only thing they don't have is the video brochures. That's the only thing really they don't have in stock. And, you know, the rest will roll out. You know, I'm sure Europe, being the home, will be pretty quick to sort all of that out, and Singapore will happen. It's just, you know, it's a phase that we're in, and we really are coming towards the end of it. And yeah, you know, it's a bit like the thing of, you know, if you're going to be the DJ and the mix, and it's like halfway through a song mix, and it's like, oh, we've just invited another 1,000 people in. It's like, well, that's not the right music then. Hang on. But yeah, so from me to all of you guys, just thank you so much for your patience. It's been amazing to be able to be supported, and just knowing that we're all in this together, and we're all in this for the long game. And that, yes, there's, you know, rough grounds, and we got to pull out the rocks and all of those things, but it's all happening. It's really, really happening. And it's an amazing product. It really is. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for being so understanding and just supportive of Mark and I, but also so supportive for your teams. It's been great. So thank you. So did anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I had a client today that she presented scoliosis. So it's like your spine has a natural curve. So the spine is natural, has a curve. And she had spondylitis, scoliosis as well, which is something correlated to the spine as well. So yeah, I'm wondering if using local stimulation, I mean, if you guys know at that level, because I think now it came to mind to asking the Healy Holistic, one of the groups in Telegram. Yeah, if using local stimulation in any of these areas may be contradictory, I don't see why not though, because the spine is already like curved naturally. But I will say that the Healy maybe stimulate the cells to come back to balance in the center, maybe to release whatever tension and come back to center the spine, if that makes sense.
Maybe the sciatica. Maybe the sciatica one, but I don't know if it's in the local stimulation one. But I have scoliosis with different parts, but you know, like I know with scoliosis, like I was on a program years ago, like before I started teaching yoga, and you know, they get you on a chiropractic thing where you're going back all the time, but then I knew it was still like, you know, come down to a habitual pattern to that, you know, they crack you into alignment, but if you haven't fixed the deep seated problem, the habitual pattern that's keeping you out of alignment, then it goes back. So actually a lot of that correcting, because I played around with it and went back and got scans, and I'd corrected so much of it, and a lot of it was left brain, like integration of a lot of gross motor activities that stimulated both sides of the body a lot, like revisiting lots of primitive reflexes. But the sciatica one, I feel like perhaps might be one that would work as well, because it's still coming up in the pelvis.
Yeah, probably as well. Yeah, lower back pain or so. But I was thinking more so that in the contraception side of things, like will that affect the spine because the nerve cord that normally runs through the spine directly, as the spine is curved now, will that affect the curve, the nerve cord in a way? I mean, in a way, it doesn't. I don't think it will be a big issue, but I thought I just put it out there for some thoughts, maybe make
Yeah,
sure.
and of course, I mean, this is a private group, but you know, we obviously not classified to answer. But um, the, I think what Shay's saying, I would have a look at the healing and see what comes up, and see where the underlying things are that may be inducing that imbalance, and I would also look at joints and bones.
Yeah, actually. Yeah,
Um,
regeneration as well in muscles.
Yeah, yeah, but I think if you look at psychosomatics, I mean, and that's often how I look at things as well. It's just okay. So there is this curvature to the stability of the being, like the spine is your structure, and if there things are a little crooked, then maybe there's actually like emotional or mental imbalance that's actually creating the curvature, and then that shows up symptomatically.
Mm, yeah, interesting. So more like deeper, knowing that the emotion is the energy. Well, emotion, energy is motion. Is what is actually being held in the area. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that. I like how deep you go, Jason. It's all about Scorpio Moon. Go in the dark. Go in the depth.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I got the Scorpio moon, mate, straight in there.
Oh, do you? Yeah, me too. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm just loving it. Like Scorpius. Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. It's been deep.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's gonna be very healing. A lots to release for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and excited. Like they just people, as you guys were saying, just people coming to just falling into place, and you just like having certain conditions and really obviously resonating with the person, and bringing the topic of frequency, and how we can stimulate the cells to come back to harmony, and people really open for it. I live in Byron Bay, so it's sort of like the energy that comes around. It's a very open conversation rather than in big cities in a way, but yeah, they just the more to discover. We were the aspect of the minus that we spoke about a few weeks ago in the aura reading about the -100 and all of that. Yeah, has been really opening eyes in multiple areas for myself and for different clients as well. And yeah, as you were saying, this is just like the start of it. It's just like seeing a few glimpses of things, but like, what else can you do? You know what I mean? Like getting a building and protecting the frequency of the whole building, so there's just good flow of energy or whatnot. Um, the other thing that it came to mind, if I just finished with that to pass the mic, is that there's a friend that her kid has anxiety. Yes, he's like a special kid a little bit, not special needs, but special inside, right? He's very sensitive. He doesn't like to use the wristbands, right? I guess this is a question in general about the scalar waves, which is as they're very subtle, right? Just very, very soft into the auric field. Does that mean that you could do as much throughout the day? Like, let's say you could put an 8-hour program through the whole day, and living in your house, and then streaming to that person, and because it's very subtle, it won't. You know how you can do only one physical program. How does that work with the scalar waves?
Do you want to speak to that, Mark?
Yeah, for sure. So Nikolai, it's the 3 programs a day max they recommend for the scale for the microcurrents, because you're actually talking about electrical current moving into your body, right? Like there's a physical current, and it's important you're grounding. There's so many different things, in that sense. Make sure you're hydrated, different bits, and you just the cells just don't need more stimulation than that. It's because it's physically stimulating, different areas of your body, etc. And again, it's in a way, in responding to your question, the question is, what are you aiming to get from running at 8 hours instead of 40 seconds or 2 minutes, you know? And it's the way we think about how we're applying these frequencies, which is the bit to have a bit of a contemplation around. So the general idea is, if you're using the quantum frequencies, you can run those all day and it's not going to be destructive, as it's not running electricity. It doesn't have any of those kind of side effects of, you know, what you would with microcurrents. If you ran that all day, it would be a whole different story, right? Whereas from my understanding, what can happen is the body, because when you're sending a frequency, you're basically sending information data packets, right? You're sending information to your body, to your energy field, to to your cells, and to your energy body, etc. So if you're sending information when you're sending those frequencies, you know, it's a bit like, Jason will probably agree with this, it's a bit like when I answer people's questions. I could probably do it in actually 10 seconds, but sometimes I get so carried away and passionate about sharing the answer that it goes for 10 minutes. And then a lot of people start shutting off after 5, you know, and it's nothing personal. It's just literally, it's like, look, I just wanted to know and I just get lost in my answers and things. So that's something I've had to be conscious of. And in a way, the Healy is kind of the same. It's like, you don't need to give all of that information to the body at once, you know, which is why the recommendations of running, if it's acute issue, then just run little doses every hour. It's almost like if you're depressed, then don't go getting a big rant from Mark. Just have a look at one of the memes every hour, you know, just a meme that has a capture of an essence to remind you of what it is to be positive, what it is to feel good about yourself, right? And then sometimes when you do want to go deeper, you want to deal with a more chronic issue, then less often, but longer. So then, okay, maybe listen to one of Mark's rants once a week, you know, that's probably enough, right? And then just look at his memes every day, right? So it's like, it's about just dosing of what you're dealing with. And so that's where doing 2 minutes 49 or whatever that number is that's on that little balancing sheet, that's actually for chronic. So if they are dealing with a chronic issue like scoliosis, for example, then you would really set an intention when scanning with the resonance. And whatever comes from that, I would then run morning and night for a month and commit to doing that for a month. And what will happen is, after about a week, you start forgetting, right? And that's actually, even that is part of the commitment of the person who's running it, you know, to really be determined. I do want to resolve this chronic issue, and I will continue using this beyond when I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered. It's like, well, if you can't be bothered, you know, but you're asking the universe to be bothered, you know, how much do you really want to shift this? And so, as opposed to just trying to just throw lots of frequency at the body, which worst case will do what I'm doing right now, whereas by keeping it short and to the point, you're going to find the body more receptive to the actual thing. So less really is more in that sense.
Yeah, okay. And so Joseph, yes, Shay?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think especially when it's a sensitive kid, that less is more, because I guess what comes up for that is like, you know, I know you weren't even talking about this kid to do with the scoliosis, this is something separate, but something like that, I guess, is so down on the bones and so like ingrained that it does take such a long time, because it's really like a dense thing that's already manifested in the bones. But if it's a sensitive kid and it's something like Asperger's or something like that, and they're already very highly sensitive, I see that energy as being so high that I can imagine that the quantum, like the scalar waves or the higher vibration, probably is enough, and not to have to do it for so long probably is like enough for someone that's really highly sensitive already to correct that in a way.
Actually, on that note, Shay, because I had a quick look at and there's two things. I had a quick look at this. Usually what I do, like Jason, you know, was talking about as well, is a quick search of like spiritual meaning of scoliosis, right? And it's quite fascinating to see what the different takes are. And the first thing that I saw within lines of reading, and I didn't go deep, was inherited trauma, right? And that kind of makes sense, you know? And so in that case, it's like, well, maybe the body isn't what you want to be hitting. but rather the aura scan and working on deeper issues, those negative relevancies that are kind of from that underlying deeper stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Mum, Josh said this funny thing that, because me and Mum both came up with scoliosis, and like 10 years ago, before me, Joe and Josh sort of, when we first started going off onto our sort of spiritual awakening path, Mum, like Josh said, that he'd watch me and Mum walk up the street and we'd be both leaning like a mirror of each other, but one scoliosis went that way. And he said, you were like, I could tell when it was you two coming, because one would be leaning that way, one would be leaning that way. And then he says now, like after recorrecting heaps of the emotional stuff, like you said, after all those years, he said, oh, you walk like you're pretty straight now when you're walking. So, but that was sort of funny. We were like mirroring the same, like you said, the inherited trauma, but it's sort of like mirrored in the mother-daughter scenario, and we've corrected it through a lot of the emotional stuff. And yeah, definitely think that. So, yeah.
Beautiful. That's an amazing tangent. Thanks.
I just feel like we just a bit like you said as well, Jace, with when we're talking, we have to be careful about what we're recommending out there, because we cannot recommend Healy for children, not publicly, not officially, just basically because the evidence isn't there, the research hasn't been done on children. And anything to be cleared by the TGA, FDA, wherever you are, they need certain documentation. Microcurrent therapy has not been studied on children in that sense, or pregnant women, because to do those kinds of studies is incredibly expensive, challenging, very hard to do because of all the ethical things around that kind of research. With that being said, it's down to each person's individual understanding of what microcurrents do, what quantum frequencies are, to make an educated decision for themselves in that sense. So just making that super clear, because you don't want to go telling, oh, use this for your kid, even though I use it for mine. That's a personal choice I make, and I see amazing results when I do. But that's something that I need to be conscious and responsible for. If something was to go wrong, I can't blame Healy for that, because they've made it clear, it's not to be recommended for children, pregnant women, because of that reason, not because it's shown to be harmful or any other reason like that.
Yeah, definitely. The language is something very, very careful too. Something to be very aware of, as we constantly coming back to that of like, actually, it doesn't cure, it can support. And the language, even saying anxiety is already, a big word. I think I saw a post somewhere about someone saying anxiety, and that was already a big thing. I think working with breathwork or something that she said it can help with anxiety, and he wasn't able to go on YouTube to put a YouTube ad, and he said like anxiety relief techniques, and like they put it down because apparently anxiety is correlated to suicide or whatnot. So definitely a very important thing to remember constantly. And also with the scalar wave, so just finishing on that, so just like use it very, very softly, and as you say, some small programs throughout the day, morning and night preferably. But then just out of curiosity, how it will be if you use those 2 to 15 minutes. Let's say you're working in different things, right? And you want to do it through scalar waves. Will be like, how will the body react? Not just the react, but just what will you think about using that 2 to 15 minute sort of frequencies, let's say 10 times a day, right? In different things.
So again, think of it in the sense that you're sending a whole lot of data commands to the enterprise, and you're asking it to achieve multiple missions in one day. And so I'd kind of, and this is what I'm offering here is my personal perception of this, not my scientific evidence from it. But my general feeling from what I understand with energy and different things is, in a way, it's still trying to kind of do everything in like, almost like that fast food mentality of let's fix this, let's fix this, let's fix this. Whereas if you can get your body to focus on what is the underlying things, like one piece at a time, and work on that, then that's my feeling. I also feel that over time, as your body gets used to the frequencies more and more, as you're using the Healy more and more, it's going to be more adaptable, more malleable, more kind of in a dance with the Healy. Whereas in the beginning, when we try and just run everything at once, I feel like it's a bit too much in that sense. And again, it comes down to, are we using the Healy from a place of empowerment, or are we using the Healy from a place of the victim that's looking like, fix me, I have to get fixed now. This is all, and just kind of like, externalizing responsibility, putting it into the device, and then getting disappointed. And this happens, and it's understandable, And so it's that part of also just really being, again, that mirror, reflecting on, where am I coming from when I'm running these frequencies? Why do I feel to run on so many different things? And also trusting that your body is holistic, meaning that none of those things you're trying to work on are actually separate from each other. They are all interwoven in different ways. And when you're working on one with the Healy, you are still subtly working on everything else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good.
And just a visualization that I was having with it as well is I was kind of thinking of it like an energetic navigation tool, right? So if you had this thing where you said for 40 seconds or for 2 minutes, whatever, I want to go in that direction energetically, and then you allowed the pathway to take its path to go there. Or if you went, I have to go that way, and then even if that took you through the thorn bush, you would go that way because that was the direction that I had to follow. It for me, it's kind of like, inspiring the energetic body to come back to this or head in that direction, and then allowing it to naturally do that with ease and gentleness of its own attunement, as opposed to too much force. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that was kind of an analogy that made sense for me. And I just want to say hi to Leanne and Miss Mandy J on the call. Nice to have you both here. And also, Mark, I just wanted to know how we could sign up for your daily, weekly memes, because that one of how was it? If you can't be bothered, how can you expect the universe to be bothered? I think that's a great first one.
It's funny. I've been absolutely frozen with social media sharing for the whole of 2020, and it's just been like, so I'm like, everything seems like. There's enough noise out there. But I don't know, maybe that was the invitation. I'll have to watch the recording and get that quote again.
Cool.
But anything I do share will always be on Live Your Genius, the Facebook page. That's my Facebook page.
Okay, we always need a good Leo to be the light, Mark. Don't step down. Don't step down.
I tell you, it's just, Shay, sometimes the moths that come flying to the flames, it's a bit much at times on social media.
Oh, don't worry. There's a Gemini right next to you that can just distract them in all directions.
Yeah, and a Pisces over here that takes them to different universes all the time. Do you know which one on the program? Do you know which one's for Candida? Is there any specific that are more Candida-y ones?
Do you know anyone who has the search thing? I don't have it, but if you know anyone that does, they could type that in.
Oh, I don't have it, but yeah, okay. It might have come up already on Krista might have already put it. Maybe someone else on there too.
I'm pretty sure it has come up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Or or if someone has the search app as well. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know anyone who does it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
I tried to get it and it never activated.
Yeah.
But I've seen people report to other people. They search for them, or you could check in the other chat in the search. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That reminds me of two things I want to share. First of all, something that came up in the Frank Dyler conversation. Most of you, I guess, have seen that video. He is talking about the beta testing of the new website coming up towards the end of the year, and also that they're probably going to then go to the requirement to be activated, which means that you're going to need to have that PV there. So if it's in your capacity, start introducing your team to the requirement for that, so that when we get there, it's not a, oh my God, I didn't activate and I've missed out on my check and things like that. You know, if we can start thinking about that kind of dialogue, that's going to be coming in, because we're in November already. So maybe by the end of December, we're going to need to have that. And I was in the 88 days thing today, and I just want to share something that came up that was really cool that I had not seen before. And it's a thing called Teamzy. And this is a program that's been created as a customer relations manager type thing for MLM companies. And there's not one specific for Healy, but there's specific for Herbalife and Enagic and all of these other ones. And it basically, you know, you can put in how much you want to earn at the end of the year kind of thing. And it will say, well, to do that, roughly you need to connect with 8 prospects, and then connect with 5 of your customers, and connect with 4 of your distributors. And you can upload all of your contacts from Facebook, and it will set you basically daily tasks. You can set up your daily things that you need to put in. And for example, what this does is it just randomly every day will come up with 5 people from my Facebook group that I can then give a star rating to. Depending on what rating I get for them, it will then give me a reminder. Obviously, a 5-star will remind me more often to contact them than a 1-star that says, don't worry about contacting these people kind of thing. So if you're looking for something to help you bring it all together, this is something that I and a few other people are going to start playing with. There's a 30-day free trial, so you can have a bit of a play with that, because sometimes it can be hard to organize it all. And this seems very much driven towards a customer relations manager for MLM. So yeah, definitely worth looking at. It's called Teamzy.
Good find.
Yeah, really good.
Nice.
Sweet. But that brings us pretty much to the top of the hour again. If anyone's got any quick questions, or anyone who hasn't shared their voice would love to share their voice, not pointing at any 2 ladies in particular, just Leanne and Mandy.
They're probably listening or doing something else.
Yeah, very good chance.
Fair enough. And if you are listening, Mandy and Leanne, thank you for joining in. And Mandy, I hope you had an amazing trip up north. They took the Healys up north on a bit of a retreat. So
nice.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, you're right. I am doing something while I'm listening.
Awesome. It's
great
just
to
good
have
to hear
you,
your
Mandy.
voice.
Yeah. Yeah. I just happened to be around at this time, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can tune in today.
Fantastic. We're looking forward to catching up soon.
Yeah.
And Leanne saying
Yeah,
she
look
was
forward.
driving and listening too.
Okay.
Great. Cool. All right. And just for the Perth folk, there is a presentation happening at Mind Body Heart on Thursday night, or anyone who has got people that they know in Perth, feel free to invite. I'll put the invite link into the True Resonance group as well. So that'll be happening 6:30 to 8:30 on Thursday night, with myself and Arahia doing presentation on that. So it's a good place if you've got newbies, or even people that have been in the business for a little while but haven't got their device yet and want to share it with other people. But I haven't got a device, how do I share it? Then you can bring them to a room of other people that have got devices, and they can get scanned and things like that. So.
Nice.
Cool.
Awesome.
Beautiful people. Thank you.
Thanks,
You
guys.
guys are amazing.
Yeah, I was all in. I didn't leave. I'm abandoned halfway through.
Did Jason guilt you in from the beginning?
I think it was the crystal that held you.
That Herkimer app, it's one of my favorites.
I know.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Beautiful. Thanks, everyone.
Mwah. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.